When you hear any of these
London, 1940.
the government have given instructions for the following
Kyiv, 2022. Fear, pain, despair, anger. Russia's relentless bombings will not stop us. We defend democracy and all our values against Russia's attacks. We rebuild our houses and cities. We clear landmines and sow life. We bring light back into every house and build new bridges. In spite of everything, we love and dream. We fight, we transform.
And work for Ukraine.
We are rebuilding better and greener, using the best of Ukrainian and global innovation. And every day, we look to our future with pride and confidence. United in defense, united in recovery. We build Ukraine.
Please welcome the Right Honourable James Cleverly MP, Secretary Dmytro Kuleba, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. There are over 1,000 public and private sector decision makers here, governments representing 61 states, 33 international organizations, over 400 businesses, and 130 civil society organizations. After nearly 18 months of Ukraine withstanding Russian full-scale invasion, the international community is coming together today with a shared belief and confidence in Ukraine's future. Russia's full-scale invasion has caused untold suffering, but Ukraine is rebuilding now. Recovery offers an opportunity not only to repair what was lost, but to stride forward and to rebuild an economy that is more modern, more open, greener, and more resilient. When I visited Kyiv recently, I could see the construction equipment, the JCBs, already visible everywhere. This URC is about unlocking Ukraine's potential, supporting Ukraine's immediate recovery needs, and unlocking a private sector-led recovery. After the sacrifices and suffering of the war, Ukrainians are planning for a better future. And it is in the interests of the world that that country, the one that they rebuild, should be stronger than ever, integrated into global markets and self-reliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage my Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to the Ukraine Recovery Conference. Now, before this terrible war, Ukraine's economy was becoming a huge investment opportunity. It was the breadbasket of Europe, exporting millions of tons of food and grain each month. A top 5 exporter of iron ore and steel, a leader in energy, pushing forward renewables, hydrogen and electric vehicles, and a startup nation, which helped spark names like PayPal, WhatsApp and Revolut, with a thriving tech sector which actually had a record year in 2022. Because the truth is, that opportunity is still there today. In fact, the war has only proved how much Ukraine has to offer. When I visited Kyiv last November, I saw this for myself. I saw Ukraine's incredible spirit. A spirit, yes, of strength and defiance, but also of ingenuity and innovation. In a converted office block, I met tech experts, civilian and military, who were working together to find new ways to bolster the country's defences. They were networking mobile phones so that people across Ukraine could download an app which would allow their phone to pick up the sound of the Shahed drones and feed back the location so that Ukrainian air defense could track them and shoot them down. During the winter, Russia tried to destroy Ukraine's energy grid. By February, over 40% of power generation was down. But now, because of that incredible ingenuity and defiance, Ukraine has got the grid back online, and they're even able to start exporting electricity back to Europe. As we've seen in Bakhmut and Mariupol, what Russia cannot take, it will seek to destroy. They want to do the same to Ukraine's economy. And the scale of the challenge is real. The war brought a 29% fall in Ukraine's GDP last year. But just look at the streets of Kyiv. Despite the threat of attack, people are getting on with their lives and getting on with business. President Zelensky's government is determined to drive reforms to become more open, more transparent, and ready for investment. This is a vibrant, dynamic, creative European country that refuses to be subdued. So together with our allies, we will maintain our support for Ukraine's defense and for the counteroffensive. We will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes for them to continue and to win this war. We'll also stand with them as they win the peace and harness all of that ingenuity and defiance to build the future that they deserve. The question for us today is, what can we do to support this, to fast-track recovery and help Ukraine unleash its potential? It's clear Russia must pay for the destruction that they've inflicted. So we're working with allies to explore lawful routes to use Russian assets. And on Monday, we published new legislation to allow us to keep sanctions in place until Russia pays up. But beyond that, we must bring to bear a partnership of governments, international financial institutions, and business leaders, all of us here today, to make this happen. The British government will continue to play its full part, and I'm proud that today we're announcing a multi-year commitment to support Ukraine's economy. Over 3 years, we will provide loan guarantees worth $3 billion. We're also launching a new UK-Ukraine tech bridge to foster investment and talent, along with support for green energy and more, all part of a vast collective effort from allies and partners around the world, including significant new support from the EU, which is also being announced this week. Financial institutions are playing their part. The IMF is putting $15 billion into Ukraine over the next 4 years as part of a $115 billion commitment by the G7 and its partners. And institutions like the EBRD are providing seed capital to support private sector-led growth. Because above all, we must build a platform for business. Only they can truly crowd in the innovation and investment that Ukraine needs. And that's why we're launching the Ukraine Business Compact, for the private sector to pledge their support for Ukraine's recovery and reconstruction. And I am delighted to announce today that over 400 businesses from 38 countries with a combined market cap of $4.9 trillion have now signed up. Now, the City of London has a huge amount to offer in their deep and liquid capital markets and world-class finance expertise. So there is no better place to announce today the new London Conference Framework for War Risk Insurance. This is a huge step forward towards helping insurers to underwrite investments into Ukraine, removing one of the biggest barriers and giving investors the confidence they need to act. With this and everything that we do here, we are sending a message that our support on the battlefield and beyond cannot be outlasted, and that Ukraine's incredible spirit will prevail. Now, in a moment, I'll hand over to my friend, President Zelensky. But first, I'd just like to share something that I heard recently. It's about a Ukrainian soldier fighting to defend Bakhmut. He was stationed in an empty house, not far from the front line, surrounded by the destruction of war. When he could snatch a moment of free time, he used it to plant seeds. He was trying to create a plot of vegetables, hoping that by the time the homeowners returned, they would have begun to grow. What a profound expression of hope. And you know, from that house to this hall, we're doing the same thing. We're planting the seeds of Ukraine's future. Today, we can water them, and in time, the Ukrainian people will harvest them. And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce President Zelensky. Vladimir, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Happy to see you, Rishi. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your kind words about Ukraine, about our soldiers, and thanks for your leadership and support the UK